and it's go, go, go. Oh no, Lando. It's all right though. Oh, he's catching. He's catching. He's catching. He's catching. It's lap 18. And yes, he's got past Maxi Boy. Fantastic. Lando Norris, world champion 2024. Oh God, what have I done? Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Yes, finally F1 after 3 weeks was back on our screens. I have to say, I actually missed it. If I was in charge of Formula 1, I'll tell you what I'd do. I'd have a race every 3 weeks. Yes, forget the summer break. Forget about the winter, because let's have a race in the pouring rain and ice and coldness and snow. Well, that's what we want, isn't it? That's what we want. Yes, so just forget about winter breaks. Just carry on with a race every 3 weeks, because I had some genuine excitement going into this race because of the long break. I really did. And then the race started, and it was a complete bore fest. Let's be honest. I struggle to give this race 5 out of 10. I wanted to give it 4 out of 10, but I thought that was being a little bit too mean, so I'm going to give it 5 out of 10. It was another strategical race, but as for things going on, there really wasn't a lot going on in this race. Anyway, it was Zandvoort, which, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't really bring up many good races anyway, to be honest, and it proved it there and then. Anyway, so starting off the line, Maxi Boy Verstappen got the jump on Lando Norris at a terrible start. Looking at the replay actually, and he just seemed to bog down off the line. So Max got into the lead into the first turn, and it was just playing catch up basically for Lando Norris. But catch up he did, slowly and surely. He was eating into that Maxi Boy Verstappen time. Eating into it, and I was getting very excited, especially around lap 18 when he finally got into the DRS zone and managed to get past Maxi Boy. And there was a slight little cheer from me when that happened. Yes, just a little one, but yes, I was quite excited for that situation. So well done for Lando for winning the race. Ended up, I think, 22 seconds ahead in the end, which is not a bad score against Maxi Boy. Now, of course, everyone's sort of saying now, what on earth is happening to Red Bull? Well, I've said this before. I don't think anything is happening to Red Bull apart from the fact that their developments just aren't working. And I've also heard that they're on the Channel 4 coverage, actually, that they said that they're actually going to take some of those developments off and go back and put some of the old ones on. And I think that's a good idea. I think that is a good idea because clearly those developments are not working. I've also said, though, that this is really the Adrian Newey effect coming in now. Yes, he hasn't got his eye on the ball, is Adrian, because he's off for pastures wherever. We don't know where he's going, but he's off. And so development on that Red Bull, I don't think he's quite going to plan at the moment, and that's why they're in a few problems. There was a lot of talk about this cheating, you know, the Red Bull were cheating, and the FIA had to clarify to make sure that they wouldn't be cheating in the future. I'm not so sure, but there was a situation back at Benetton back in, I think it was 1995, and we had this same thing with some kind of illegal thing that was going on with the Benetton, and once this had been clarified by the FIA, the Benetton lost a lot of pace. Now, I'm not saying that's the same thing with Red Bull because they had been cleared and everyone said, no, they weren't cheating, so just forget about it now. But all I'm saying is it just seems a little bit fishy to me that they've lost so much performance. But then again, if those upgrades aren't working, and clearly the McLaren upgrades are definitely working, then there's your answer to why Maxi Boy is not winning the races. Now, I have done some calculations on a calculator. Yes, this is exciting. Okay, Max is currently on 295 points. Lando is on 225 points. Now, in an ideal scenario, and this is an ideal scenario which is not going to happen, but just hear me out. If Max finishes in second place for the remaining 9 rounds of the championship, he is going to get, of course, 18 points for all those rounds, and he's going to end up in total with 162 points. Now, if Lando gets the next races and finishes in first place, he gets 25 points per round, of course, he will end up with 225 points. Now, the scores and the doors will say that at the end of the season, Max will end up with 457 points and Lando will have 450. That's a very close margin indeed. Now, of course, that is, as I say, that's not going to happen, because that means that Max will have to finish all the remaining rounds in second place and Lando's got to win them all. That's the only way that scenario will play out. But just looking at that, you can see that it's not a walk in the park for Maxi Boy. Just one problem for Max Verstappen. One problem, a crash, and he loses a whole heap of points. Lando could be up there. I still believe that Maxi Boy is going to win the championship. I still believe that's a given. I can't see McLaren. Lando's on 225 points. Max is on 295. I think the gap is just too large. But this is the exciting thing. One problem for Max, and it could be a disaster. Absolute disaster. I mean, if he gets an engine problem and he has to start right at the back of the grid and can't, get higher than about 8th or 9th, that wouldn't be good anyway. But the main point of concern, of course, is Lando Norris. He's got to win the 9 remaining rounds, and that's a very, very tall order indeed when you've got 19 cars equally wanting to win right behind you. But if he did that, the points going into the final round at Abu Dhabi would be very close indeed. And this has just proved that Max is definitely under pressure for this year. Definitely under pressure. And I hope this continues into next year, because at the start of the season I thought this was going to be a very, very boring 2024. But it's actually, after about 6 or 7 rounds, it's proved to be very exciting indeed. And I can't wait to see how my scenario plays out. And yes, so I'm calling it now. Lando Norris, World Champion 2024. You heard it here first. It's going to happen. Oh God, not again. Not again. Unfortunately, I can't give me teddy bear away, because I've already said I would and I didn't. So, yeah, I haven't got much else to give away, to be honest. But, that's my prediction. It's okay. It's okay. These crazy predictions are fine. I mean, they're not completely ridiculous, like saying that Logan Sargent's going to win the World Championship. I mean, that's just idiocy squared, that is, because that's not going to happen. This is a situation which could, in theory, happen. It's very unlikely, but it could happen. Okay? Just like I said that Lewis Hamilton was never going to win another race. And now he has. Yes. Bastard. But anyway, there you go. I'm calling it now. Lando Norris, World Champion. You can clip this segment of the video to your heart's desire and hit me round the head with it for the next 3 or 4 years. I don't care, but that's what I'm calling now. Yes, Lando Norris, World Champion 2024. There you go. I've called it. So anyway, back to the race, which, as I say, was pretty much a bore fest, wasn't it? Lando won it, of course. Maxi Boy was in second position. It was a good race for Charles Leclerc, I have to say. Oscar's pastry was doing pretty decent as well. Didn't quite have the pace, of course, of Lando Norris this time. And, of course, another thing to remember is, I said this earlier in the season as well, are McLaren going to regret when they asked him to pull over Lando Norris for Oscar's pastry to win? Because those points are now looking very, very important indeed. And they've lost some unnecessarily because they didn't need to do that. No, just because an arrangement was done earlier, they still didn't need to do that. So they lost, 18 to 25, wasn't it? I can't do maths. But they've lost that amount of points. And that was silly. Very silly. You should have held on to all of Lando's points, because towards the end of the season, they're going to be mightily important. And if Lando loses the championship to that point deficit that he lost to Oscar's pastry by letting him go, oh my God. Oh my God. Can you just imagine the eruptions? The eruptions, mostly from Lando Norris, and rightly so as well. Rightly so, because, yeah, that'll just be ridiculous. But anyway, so there you go. The race was, as I say, at Zandvoort, pretty boring. Carlos Sainz, yeah, he did. I'm just looking down the list of drivers off to my laptop here. Lewis Hamilton. Oh dear, Lulu. What can we say? Well, He was pretty much nowhere all through that race, wasn't he? He does seem to have a problem with consistency, I have to say. You know, sometimes he's good, sometimes he's average, sometimes he's below average. And this, I think, is possibly a problem with old age. Yeah. But we will see. We will see. I mean, you know, it could just have been the circuit didn't suit the Mercedes. We don't know. But he definitely had a sort of lacking in pace, and he just seemed a little bit lackluster out there on the circuit. Maybe it's just a circuit he doesn't like. I don't know. But anyway, Lulu, not his best day, it has to be said. Now, Sergio Perez, of course, did finish, I think, in 6th place, didn't he? So well done to Checo. But he needs to be higher than that if they're going to try and win this Constructors. Now, at the moment, the Constructors' Championship is very, very close indeed between McLaren and Red Bull. And I think they're definitely going to lose to Constructors because Oscar's Pastry is doing a sterling number 2 job as opposed to Sergio Perez. So, yeah, I think that Constructors is definitely going to go to McLaren. Definitely. That's a given. So, yeah, not too good in the Constructors' Championship. And, of course, we had George and Russell. He didn't do bad. Fernando Alonso, well, he was pretty average. And, of course, we had Lance Stroll. And then just scrolling down, excuse me. Who else did we have? The Hulk was in there. Yuki Tsunoda. They all did pretty badly, let's be honest. All the ones, I mean, I was only watching the highlights, so I didn't see much of any of them because I don't tend to focus on the lower cars, unfortunately, during highlights. But I didn't see much sort of action from anyone. And of course, once again, the fantastic Sauber duo did absolute shit. Yes, did absolute cacking shit. They really did. They just didn't do a bloody thing. Just ridiculous now. For Valtteri Bottas. I mean, Audi now own that team. They obviously can't be very... Perhaps they've just written off this season and said, well, you know, it's a transitional year for us, so we're just going to go full in next year. Of course, it's not going to be till 2026 that they actually get the official branding on the car, but it still is at the moment owned by Audi. So, yeah, they can't be too impressed with what's happening because Guan Yu Zhou and Valtteri Bottas they're just doing nothing. They're just making the numbers up. I mean, their cars really don't even need to go around the track because there's no point. There's no point because they're not getting any points and they're not going to get any points. I can't see all season. I really can't. Anyway, Logan Sargent, I didn't see him all race. Of course, Anton Albon, I did see him a few times. I did see an interview with James Vowles, of course, as well, of Williams, talking all about Carlos Sainz and signing for them and what he's hoping to achieve. It looks very good on paper and it looks really exciting. I'm very excited for him to go to Williams. But the problem is, I don't think that excitement is going to come up with results, unfortunately. I was just looking at Williams, you know, the past few races, and they're pretty much where they've been sort of at the start of the year. They haven't really improved much, and yeah, it's exciting times and possibly disappointing times at Williams. And of course, the trouble with Williams is this has happened so many times before. Williams have got to a level of, you know, everyone thinking, wow, they're doing really good, and then the next year they start to do pretty badly. And I'm not saying it's going to happen now that James Vowles is in charge, but you know, fundamentally, that team has gone downhill for very many years, and it's going to take more than I think the time that Carlos Sainz is going to be at Williams to bring that team back up to a consistent level. I hope it happens, and I hope I'm completely wrong. I hope that next year Williams are going to be up there battling just behind the leaders. I hope they're up there battling just behind the leaders, whoever the leaders will be next year, because we don't know. But whoever it is, I hope they're up there. But I don't think that's going to be possible. I just don't think it's going to be possible. But anyway, let's hope so. So that was it, basically. 72 laps of pretty much boredom because not a lot was happening. And as I say, luckily I got through on the highlights in about 40 minutes, so I was very happy about that. So definitely not a classic Grand Prix at Zandvoort by a long margin. I'd give it 5 out of 10. I'll probably give most of that 5 out of 10 just for Lando getting past Max Verstappen, to be honest, because that was basically the one highlight of the race. And before anyone starts coming at me, don't forget, I only see the highlights. So if you've seen lots of stuff during the full coverage, well done. But all I see is a highlight. I see 40 minutes of the race, and to me it was a bore fest. It really was. There was really not a lot going on. Anyway, that was my very quick review of the race at Zandvoort. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. You've been awesome as always. And as always, leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Tell me what you thought of the race, what you thought of Lando. Yeah. What you thought of Lando, and you know, anything in between. What you'd score the race as well. If you agree with me, it's about a 5 out of 10, or you know, do you think it should have been a lot higher than that, or maybe a little bit lower? You know, it's entirely up to you. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'll catch you in the next one.